Welcome to the Star Life TV channel. In this video, I will talk about the fight against fears and tricks of the Matrix in the new video of MUSE, You Make Me Feel Like It's Halloween. On August 26, 2022, the British rock band MUSE premiered the video for the song You Make Me Feel Like It's Halloween. The new creation of MUSE is a continuation of the story of their previous video for the song Will of the People. It shows the fate of people who decide to fight the system in search of freedom. The video gives a reference to the famous horror films. His ending reinforces the idea that the whole fight was just part of a larger plan. The You Make Me Feel Like It's Halloween video was directed by Tom Teller, who has worked on previous videos from MUSE's new album. According to the official version, the song is dedicated to domestic violence during self-isolation during a pandemic. In fact, it has a much deeper meaning. In the first few seconds of the clip, we see a classic haunted house from horror movies, with red lights flickering in the windows. Near the mansion is a red car, referring to the film adaptation of Stephen King's novel Christina. According to its plot, the killer car was able to endow its owner with diabolical power, as well as perform independent meaningful actions. People in masks come to the house. These are the same freedom fighters who took part in the uprising in the previous MUSE video. There they smashed the control system in the world familiar to us. On the backs of people, the symbol still flaunts, which is the letters WOTP superimposed on each other. These letters form the abbreviation Will of the People. This time, the masked men come out to fight fear, with the help of which certain boundaries are created that hold back the people. The camera begins to slowly move forward, passing through the glowing keyhole. The keyhole is a symbol of access to another world, hidden from human eyes. Next, we see masked men enter the house. From the first seconds it becomes clear that this is the abode of evil spirits. A massive chandelier hangs from the ceiling, giving a reference to Lucifer. In clips and films, he is often depicted as a large source of artificial light, since his name in translation means light-bearing. Burning candles are installed under the stairs, symbolizing the steps of Freemasonry. All this suggests that some occult ritual was carried out here. One of the masked men walks up to a huge mirror. Inside the Hall of Mirrors, he sees his own reflection. When a person steps aside, his exact copy appears in the mirror. This is a hint at the existence of a certain mirror world or an alternative reality, which can sometimes intersect with ours. The MUSE members themselves appear as portraits hanging on the wall. That is, they are observers who cannot do anything. Looking around, one of the men knocks a porcelain penguin figurine off the bedside table. He picks her up and puts her in her place. This moment is a reference to the 1990 film Misery. Its plot is built around a writer who was captured by a crazy woman who forced him to write a novel according to her script. There was a moment in the film when the writer, in an attempt to get out of the house, almost broke the porcelain penguin, but, having managed to catch the figurine, returned it to its place. The penguin's beak now looked the other way, which eventually betrayed the writer's intentions to the mistress of the house. Next, we see how the front door abruptly transforms into a long corridor. This episode is a reference to the movie The Shining, directed by Stephen King. A little later, the main characters begin to run along this corridor, but at the end they see a terrible monster. One of the masked men is pulled right towards him. The second, in an attempt to escape, stands in front of the mirror. The doppelganger in front of him grabs him and throws him inside. This footage may be a reference to the movie, Us. In it, the girl got lost in the mirror maze, which was used by her exact copy, located on the other side of the mirror. A man enters a parallel world. He finds himself in a strange room, hung with chandeliers. As mentioned earlier, artificial light sources give a reference to Lucifer. Thus it becomes clear that the guy got into the lower worlds. When he begins to look around in search of an exit, The emphasis is on the screens of surveillance cameras. They show members of the MUSE group. These images are reminiscent of the interiors of the architect's office from the film The Matrix. Screens symbolize the space of options, that is, an infinite field of information containing all possible options for any event. Next, we see one of the masked men chained to a certain altar. Candles are placed around him, and he himself is in the center of the pentagram. It seems that the man is going to be sacrificed. On the wall in front of him is drawn a huge icon of the will of the people, from which blood oozes. All this may hint at mass sacrifices planned by the Illuminati. Immediately, the sign appears on screen symbolizing the space of options, which may indicate the desire of the elites to translate this scenario into reality. The following shots again point to the film, Us. A masked man wandering in the maze sees his double, standing with his back to him, who, after a couple of seconds, rushes at him. At this moment, the world turns into a digital matrix, which gives a reference to the film of the same name. The guy sticks his hand out of the screen, as if trying to break out of the system, but he is immediately pulled back. Further, the action is again transferred to the corridor from the film, The Shining. The main characters run along it in an attempt to escape from the monsters that appear everywhere. At one point, a masked man finds himself inside a labyrinth, which was also present in The Shining. The following frames of the clip directly point to the film, It. We see red balloons and yellow raincoats hung on the walls. All this was the attributes of the creepy clown Pennywise, who fed on the fears of children. When the camera moves to the end of the corridor, we see an elevator from which rivers of blood are pouring. A similar episode was also present in the movie, The Shining. Trying to escape from the rolling avalanche, a masked man breaks through a wall and flies over a burning car hovering in the air. This is a still from MUSE's music video for Compliance, released a few months earlier. Falling down, the man finds himself in a strange place. He is in the center of a dense ring of people in similar masks. When the guy takes off his metal mask, under it is the mask of the villain from the movie, Friday the 13th, and under this mask, dozens of masks of various horror movie characters are worn. We never see the real face. People standing around are the same. As a result, the entire space is literally covered with masks. These images are very symbolic. They can say that during his life a person continuously wears masks, playing certain roles. The attempt to throw off these masks and get to the bottom of who we really are is rarely successful. After people are buried under masks, the action is transferred to the office of the architect of the Matrix. All screens, symbolizing the space of options, are covered with ripples. That is, there are no more options. This may indicate the so-called zeroing of the world or a matrix reset. Next, we see elements of the costume of a masked man and his limbs. Soon the architect of the Matrix himself appears. Wires extend from his chair, which indicates that he feeds on the energy of ordinary people. This character is dedicated to the clip MUSE, Stand Down. Thus, the clip MUSE, You Make Me Feel Like It's Halloween collected references to the most famous horror films. Its meaning lies in the fact that people who decided to fight their fears fell into another trap of the system. Throughout the video, the main characters are trying to escape from the monsters. Instead of meeting them face to face and with the help of faith and the intention to deal with them once and for all. As a result, all of them continue to be only a source of energy that the Matrix and its architect consume. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Put likes.